I do want to give you enough time to work on that lesson. And if you finish the whole thing today, then you will be done with it. But people, I know I'm learning how iReady lessons work. If it says 20 minutes, it may take you longer. However, you are still expected to do 20 minutes of math and 20 minutes of reading each day. And I'm just trying to give you a little extra time in class to do some of the iReady lesson, very specific iReady lesson that has to do with what we are learning. All right, yep, by chat, post only, thank you very much. Great timing, Malachi. All right, I want to review some of the vocabulary that we did yesterday because I think you need to hear it often to use it. And this is not vocabulary we use very often. Words like variables and coefficients and terms. So I want to put those into practice just a little bit more today. And then we'll actually start solving some of these variables and some of these equations and expressions, just making sure that you understand how it all works together. The first few examples here, the camera, first few examples, there we are. In this first example up at the top of my whiteboard, I would like to know, I would simply like to know how many terms are in this expression. How many terms? Remember, terms are separated with addition and subtraction. So how many terms? Yes, those of you who were here yesterday and paying attention, and yes, I understand there were like 2 kids who said, oh, my internet got shut off. I didn't get the lesson, but I did Khan Academy. So I kind of get it. There are 2 terms. Terms are simply in before and after the addition and subtraction sign. So yes, there's a term here and a term here. So these are considered terms in this expression. All right, and my next question is, what is the coefficient? Coefficient. Yes, Ronaldo. Oh, that was fast. Yes, Drake, Isabella, Ash. Okay, very good. The coefficient is the number 4. All right, so that's the coefficient. Again, these are not words that we use very often, and you pretty much just have to learn it for algebra and algebraic thinking, but it's necessary for the next several lessons that we're going to be doing because I'm going to use these words. All right, and tell me, the coefficient is the number that is multiplied by the variable. And of course, that means my next question was going to be, what is the variable in this problem? What is the variable in this problem? Yes, C. C is the letter that represents the number. So C is the variable. All right, now that was your little quick review from yesterday. Let's see if we can do a few more. Here's the new expression. I keep wanting to say equation, but there's no equal sign there. Here's another expression. It's another algebraic expression because it has numbers and letters. How many terms? Yes, Lavisa, you are correct. Oh, that was a good question. I saw it. It was very fast. I'm going to pop right back up here. What is 7.5? 7.5 is called the constant. It's just constantly 7.5. It doesn't change. It doesn't move. It doesn't do anything different. It's just consistently 7.5. It's just the number that stays the same no matter what. So it is constant. Okay. Hopefully, there you go. There's another term for, or there's another vocabulary word for you. But that was a great question. That was like the $100,000 question right there. What is 7.5? And I didn't see who wrote it, but it was a great question. All right, here we go. Next one. Sorry, back to the next practice expression here. How many terms? How many terms? Yes. Yep. Good. Yes, you were looking for those plus and minus signs because the terms separate by plus and minus. So there are three terms. There's one, and there's one. Three terms, okay? 1, 2, 3 terms. And the terms can have letters and numbers as long as they're separated with subtraction. 3 terms. And what is the coefficient? The coefficient. Yes, happens to be the same number you guys just gave me. But yes, the coefficient is the number that you multiply with the letter. So the coefficient is 3. You are absolutely right. What are the variables? What are the variables? I actually have more than one in this one. Look carefully. Yes, very good. All right, R and Q are the variables. There are 2 variables here, 2 different letters that are going to represent 2 different numbers. And is there any constant in this problem? Any constants in this problem? Yes, the constant would be the 80.6. Just a constant number, doesn't change, always stays the same. It's constant, constantly 80.6. It doesn't change. All right, last one, last practice of this kind. How many terms? Okay, good. Isabel, Ronaldo, yes. Alexis and Maya, yes. Oh my goodness, you guys are coming in fast. Very good. Yes, there are 4 terms. There's the first one, second one, third one, fourth one. They're all separated with plus and minus signs. Okay, how many, or what is the coefficient? Which one's the coefficient? There you are, you have it. The number 2 is the coefficient. Very good. It is the number that multiplies by the variable, of course. And there's only one variable, which is, yeah, obviously the one that's with the coefficient there. The letter N is your variable. And there are lots of constants here because 114 and 30 are all just constantly those numbers. Okay, there's your vocabulary review. Now, let me ask you in a different way, a little bit different way. Ooh, let's get more high tech here. Which one of these, I'm going to say letter A, letter B, or letter C, there you go. These are not variables. These are your choices. Has a coefficient of 10 and a constant of 5. Oh, go over the word term again. Which one of these has a coefficient? Boy, I sure hope you guys can see that, okay. A coefficient of 10 and a constant of 5. Coefficient of 10 and a constant of 5. Ooh, yes. Coefficient, remember, coefficient means it has to have a variable next to it. Okay, a letter next to it. A coefficient is always next to a variable. All right, so a coefficient of 10. Yes, most of you guys got that one right. A few people said a different answer, but the letter C here has a coefficient of 10 because 10 touches the X, and that makes it a coefficient, and a constant of 5. So the 5 remains a constant. Yahoo, let's go. I saw that. Yay, I got it. Yes, you did. All right. Now, oh, somebody asked that, hey, can you go over the word term one more time? Yes, I go back over term. A term is a group of letters or numbers that is simply separated from other letters and numbers with an addition or subtraction sign. So every time you see a plus or a minus, that gives you a term. So that's why this expression has 2 terms because it's separated with 1 plus sign there. This one has 3 terms. There you go, 3 terms because it's separated with subtraction signs. And this one here has 4 terms because there are numbers and there are letters, but they're separated with the addition and subtraction signs. Does that help? I think that one came from Raya. Okay. All right. We are going to do a little more work. What is it called when the numbers are separated by multiplication or division? That's different. That's when you have a coefficient because multiplication gives you coefficient if you have a number and a variable there. Then you have a coefficient with a variable. And a variable is simply a letter that represents a number. You guys are asking some great questions today. Wow, I'm very impressed. And anytime you have a division, that's just part of the order of operations, or if you have fractions or decimals or something of this sort that you have to solve with your multiplication and division, are all these multiplication. Not only the multiplication part is only when you have a letter that touches a number, like this one's multiplication. This is multiplication, okay? 3 R's multiply, 2N down here is multiply. So, and then of course, adding and subtracting, you would just add and subtract normally after you solve the multiplication or division, because that goes back to your order of operations. All right. Now, when we do get into some variables, you will be solving some of these problems. Let's say, I'm going to use this one just for a minute. Let's say, what if X, I'm going to go up here to letter A. What if X equals 5, then what is 10 plus 5X? And in this instance, you are just going to plug in the number for the letter. So instead of X, you have 5. There you go, you're exactly right. So this is the same thing as saying, there you go, okay, 10 plus 5, and then I'm going to put this X in a, which I'm replacing with another 5, inside of parentheses, because parentheses also means multiply. And a 5 next to an X means multiply. So 5 times 5 is 25, plus the extra 10 is 35. So yes, those of you who already answered 35, great. And earlier in the year, I know some of you guys were asking, saying, hey, can we do more of these? These are kind of fun, where you get to fill in the numbers for the letters. So now that you're more familiar with the vocabulary, you will be solving some of these, and they'll be a little bit more, they'll start getting a little bit more difficult. For example, let's do this one. How about 3y plus 6 over x? There we go. Now we have 2 variables, okay? 2 variables, but I have to tell you what the variable is before you can solve it. And yes, Alexis, the number could be anything, but if it wants you to solve the expression, okay, if I want you to solve this algebraic expression, I'm going to tell you what x equals and what y equals, okay? Right now, you can't solve it. You can't simplify any of this. You can't solve it because you have too many letters, all right? But if I told you that x was 2 and y was 4, now you can solve it, okay? Go ahead and solve this problem, this expression, and give me an answer in the chat. Let's see what you got. Okay, all right. Yes, all right, now the numbers are coming in. Because if you just took out the x and you replaced it for a 2, I'm just going to do that right here. Replace the x for a 2. Replace the y for a 4, and I'm going to do that in a parentheses because that means multiply. All right, and then you solve using your order of operations. So if you have 3 times 4 is 12 plus 6 divided by 2, which is 3, then 12 plus 3 is 15. And those of you who did type in your answers, yes, good for you. You guys are getting it correct. And that's how expressions work, algebraic expressions. You replace the variables with the numbers it gives you, and then you can solve the problem using your order of operations. How about that? You guys are doing a great job already. Oh my goodness. Shall we try one more? Shall we? Yes. Okay, let's do another. Let's do one more. Let's go with, oh, just because you had one of these, W to the second power. Oh yes, remember you had that at the beginning of the week. Plus 2 plus 48 over 2z. Okay, that's a z, not another 2. All right, now, can you solve it like it's written? Absolutely not. Yes, you're right. That's an exponent. I did put an exponent in there just to make sure you are paying attention. Absolutely. No, you cannot solve this yet. What information do you need before you can solve this problem? Yes, you need to know what is W and what is Z. So W is going to be a 5, and Z is going to be an 8. There you go. Now you have your numbers. Let's see how you do on this one. Go for it. Yeah, Isabella, that was fast, but you got it. Good job. That was super fast. All right, you guys did good. Yes. Yep. A lot of you guys are getting this one right already. Oh my goodness. I cannot trick you today. Ronaldo, you want to double check that. Make sure that you double check your answer there. All right, let's go over. Angie, you laughing at yourself. That's funny. All right. We're going to plug in the numbers for the letters. So here, instead of W to the second power, we have 5 to the second power. So I'm just plugging in the number for the letter and then separating these terms here with these addition. Let's see, then you have 48 over 2z. Ooh, that's 8. All right, so if you're filling it in, if you're filling in the numbers for the letters and then solving the problem, 5 squared, just tell me one step at a time to make sure you remember. 5 squared equals what? Yes, thank you, Leslie. 5 squared, it's the same thing as 5 times 5. Remember, the little 2 tells you how many times to multiply that 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. Plus 2 plus, because the 2 doesn't change anything. Oops. I'm running out of room. Now, this one is a 2-step problem here. 2 times 8, you have to solve this before you can divide 48. So what's 2 times 8? There you go. Thank you again. Yes, you guys are very fast on this. It's 16, and then you can divide 48 divided by 16, which equals, yes, 48 divided by 16 is 3. Well, I'm going to rewrite all this on the line below just so I don't get myself confused. And this is why you always save your addition and subtraction for the end, because you want to make sure you solve each term and then you can add and subtract at the end of your expression. So 25 plus 2 plus 3, you guys got it the first time around, and that answer is 30. Yes, there were only about 2 or 3 that made a simple mathematical error there. But good job, good job, you guys are. I'm very impressed. I do have, I did this in my head. That's great. However, I'm always going to encourage you to show your work. Show your work, okay? Because first of all, you want to make sure your teacher knows you're actually doing your work. So that's why you got to write down your steps. Second of all, you'll make fewer errors if you show your work, because sometimes if you do it in your head, you get the numbers mixed up or leave out a step just because you forgot or maybe got distracted for a half a second. All right. And third of all, your teacher won't think that you cheated if you just show an answer. Not to mention, your junior high teachers will love you for showing all of your math work. Okay. All right, folks. Hey, we have 15 minutes left in math. And I want to give you this time right now because you have another assignment on iReady. The teachers would have assigned this to you for today. And it is called Understanding Algebraic Expressions. Yes, it's called Understand Algebraic Expressions, and it's on iReady. So if you do this iReady assignment today, the whole thing, then you won't necessarily have to log back in tomorrow. However, if you take a long time to do iReady, you could split it up. You can do half today and half tomorrow, but tomorrow's Friday. I'm just saying, you could start it in class right now. You have 15 minutes to work on it right now. I am here to answer questions for you if you get confused or have more questions about math. So please use this time to do your iReady assignment. If you don't finish it, you can finish it today after school as homework on your own time as asynchronous, meaning when we are offline, or you can finish it tomorrow, but it is due tomorrow. Okay, you have to finish the whole thing by tomorrow. The assignment is called Understand Algebraic Expressions. I'll type that in the chat because that is what we are doing right now, and it is on iReady. iReady. Okay, do ready.
Understand.
Okay, and then you can have a break after that, and of course, writing will start at 9:20.
My class, I know I just assigned it, so I know somebody reached out and said that it wasn't there. So my class, it should be in your iReady. So if you go in there right now, it's there.
All right, we'll pause this.
Yesterday's lesson talk about, hopefully everyone has partnered up at this point and started the process. If not, you'll have time today to work on that, quite a bit of time. And hopefully you all can start filming your videos for your partners at some point today. So that is the idea. So for those of you who weren't here yesterday or away from your computers or whatever, I'm going to just do a brief review of maybe 5 minutes of yesterday's lesson, and then I'll outline what I want you to do for the rest of our time today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Second, share screen. Share. Okay. So yesterday we talked about praise, question, polish. So all this is, it's just a strategy for us to provide meaningful feedback to our partners, whoever that may be. And what I mean by meaningful is, so let's say that you've written something like one of your narrative essays or stories, either the family holiday story that we wrote, or the autobiographical incident. So if you hand that to someone and say, hey, can you give me some feedback on this? Like, what do you think? And you just look at it and say, good. Yeah, I liked it. It was good. That's not really meaningful feedback. It's you're looking for something specific. Well, I like the way you opened it. There was a strong hook. I knew exactly what it was about. There was a focus. I like that you used intermittent feelings throughout the piece. It had a strong conclusion. I liked how you used dialogue. All of these things, that's meaningful feedback, not just, yeah, it was good, I liked it, or yeah, nah, it needs work. Okay, well, where does it need work? How does it need work? So those are sort of the hallmarks of providing meaningful feedback. So praise, question, polish is just simply a strategy for us to use with our partners to give them that feedback. So this particular strategy consists of 3 parts. The first is to underline what you feel are the interesting parts that stand out to you. You want to bold the parts that you think others will enjoy or that you feel are well written. And then you place a question mark, or I'm gonna add a little bit of an amendment to that, to the question mark, to any parts that you find confusing. So I'm gonna have you highlight the parts that you feel are confusing, just because a question mark might be difficult for your partner to spot. So let's go back to this document that we worked on yesterday. So at this point, so before I get into the document, here's where we should be. So you should have created a new Google document that you can share with your partner. You should have copy and pasted your original story, either the family holiday or the autobiographical incident, into the new document. Once everything is into that new document, you should have shared it with your partner. So today we're picking up on step 4 here, which is go through your part. And some of you may already be here and have done this, which is fantastic. But we are picking up right here with step 4, which is go through your partner's story and do the praise, question, polish, where we underline the interesting parts, bold the well-written sentences, and then ask questions about the confusing parts. And then so 4 and 5 is where we're going to be today. So where we're actually doing the praise, question, polish, and then starting to record our videos, hopefully. So the one amendment that I want to make to this is underline works, bold works, the question mark. You can put the question mark, but you may want to highlight the areas that you have questions in green, kind of like I did here. So that way, if it's highlighted, well, let's do this, because there is a difference between highlight and text color. And I want to, so this is the one part that I want the author of this essay to know that I have an issue with, that I'm having difficulty with. If you look up here in the toolbar, you'll see all of this is the bold tool, this is the italics tool, this is the underline tool, and this is how to change the color of your text. I know many of you know this, but I still need to go over it. Now, in order to highlight something, you just scroll over what you want to highlight, and then you click this little button right here, and then you'll see the highlight color tag come up. And then I want to do this in green. So now you'll see that it's highlighted. So it's not the text color, it's highlighted. So that will let the author of the essay know, oh, okay, this is an area where the reader has a question. So this right here, I underlined the one part, and this was written by a younger elementary age student. So I would be lying if I said a lot of it was interesting, but I did find this one sentence because I was intrigued by the idea of the author going to the blanket for advice. So I'm like, that's a pretty creative, expression. I like it, so I underlined it. The bold, something that was well written, again, I bold and then I put it in a different color as well. But I looked under the couch cushions, but all I found there was old popcorn and a nickel. So I bolded that because I thought, yeah, that's a well-written sentence. I've all been there, and that image stuck with me. And then I also bolded this here because I liked the repetition. It sort of reinforced the point of what was going on in the story. So the author is looking here. Is that where Mr. Bear is or Pa Bear is? Nope. Is it here? Nope. So that is a literary device, actually, and good for them. So I bolded that as well, and then I highlighted in green. I tumbled into the drawer. I climbed out of the drawer and went to my mom. I don't know where this is happening. So I said, what drawer? I'm a little confused about where this action is taking place. Is the drawer in the closet? Is it somewhere else in the room? So that will give the author of this particular piece some feedback as to what they need to clarify, sometimes what they need to zap or get rid of or delete. And that's where we're at. So hopefully you have all partnered up and you are ready to go. If not, you'll have to work that out in the chat. So I'm here for questions, but this is also going to take a little bit of incentive and motivation on your part. If you don't have a partner, you need to reach out, you need to find one. Eventually I can partner you up, but you are going to have to go out there and get it. I'm not going to solve that for you. If you've reached out numerous times and you still don't have a partner, then I would be glad to help. But we need to make a habit of solving our own problems. Anyway, lecture is over. Both the behavior and academic lecture, anyway. So that is the basics of praise, question, polish. Again, for those of you who may be nervous or unsure, uncertain about this assignment, don't worry about it. It's the first time that we've done it. I don't expect it to be perfect, but this will give me a much better indication of where we're at. And so looking at these videos I'm looking forward to it because I'm interested to see what kind of feedback you're giving to your classmates. This is an important skill for us to have because I can sit here, I can read over 34 essays at a time and give you feedback. It just like Mrs. Digby can, Mrs. Bragg can, Mr. Mullen can, all of us can give you feedback on your writing. But I'll tell you why this skill is so important. The best way, or one of the best ways to learn something is to teach it. And it sounds counterintuitive, it sounds weird, but it forces you to identify issues and then explain what's working and what's not, how it works from start to finish. There's a lot built into that skill, neurologically speaking. You have to break things down in a way that makes sense. So there's two really good things happening. Number one, it's helping you improve your own writing without you realizing it because it's forcing you to process sequentially how things are done, when they're done. And as you improve in that area, you're also going to give your classmates meaningful feedback. So you're not just going to say it's good, it's bad, it's this, it's that. They're going to read your comments and say, oh, wow, yeah, I didn't realize that. That totally makes sense. That's good. And it's going to make everyone, including yourself, better. So not trying to waste your time, this isn't something that I see as filler or this or that. It's a meaningful skill task that will help you and more importantly, help your partner. So once we get through all the logistical bits of this, I think you'll be surprised that, and as we do it throughout the rest of the year, which we will, you're going to look back on this particular assignment and look at the feedback and how you did it and go, oh, wow, yikes, that was pretty raw compared to the last time that we do this, which will probably be in May sometime. And you're going to be amazed at the difference and how much you've learned. So moving on, now that I've justified the existence of this assignment in gruesome detail, what I want you to do right now is I want you to go through your partner's story and do the underlining, the interesting parts, the bold, the questions, all of that. And then record your Screencastify video. So I went over this yesterday, but I'm going to go over it again. You need to go to the Chrome store and get the Screencastify extension. So what the Screencastify extension does is it allows you to record your desktop. So it'll record, if you have a cam, it'll record your cam as well. And you record it, so it'll record your voice and everything that you're doing. So I'll give you an example. So I'm going to record this little session. So it'll bring up or it should, there we go. So it's asking for my screen. I'll share it and it gives me a countdown. So now I'm officially recording. And then if I come over here, you can see that there's this little tool, and I want to get rid of that. Well, I'll eventually get rid of it, but you've got this little highlight tool that you can use. So if I come over here, yeah, I really found this sentence right here. I found it interesting. And then hide that. And then you do your recording, which should come out to about 2 minutes and 30 seconds at the most. And after you're done recording your video, come back up here, hit stop, and it'll give you this. So key detail right here. So, and it'll tell you the length of the video down here. You won't need to edit it. You won't need to do any video editing as far as that's concerned, unless you want to for some reason. But from this point on, what you'll need to do is you'll need to go up here, title the assignment, PQP feedback for, and then whoever your partner is. Then once you've titled the assignment and then you do your recording, which should come out, then you click over here to go to more options. And then go to unlisted, click view on drive. So you can do that. Copy shareable link. Come here. And then click on share. So your video will come up just like here. You'll have to go to these 3 dots right here. Click on share. Once you click on share, then you type in your the person that you're sharing with, your partner's email, and then click send, and then it will share the document, it will share the video with your partner. Okay, So I know there's some steps there with the video, and I will write something up, kind of a step-by-step for recording video. Some of you are gonna buzz, you're gonna buzz right through that, and that's cool. But for those people who are a little iffy on the technology piece of this, don't worry about it. I'll put together a quick step-by-step for you, and I'll post that in a few minutes. But right now, I want you to go ahead and spend the remaining time commenting on your partner's paper. And if you have time, to start recording the feedback video, which should be no more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And that 2 minutes and 30 seconds is gonna move quickly. So go ahead and work on this assignment. And I will be available for chat. I may not get right to you. I'm gonna try to type up that step-by-step for the video and how to share it. So if I don't get to you immediately, I will get to you, but I wanna make sure that I get that together for those of you who will need it. All right, so again, if you have any questions, hit me up in the chat, but right now we're working on that. Okay, those of you having trouble, I don't know why you would have trouble with the Screencastify extension. You shouldn't. Okay, 2 people, yeah, this is not like a 3-person, this is just you and a partner, that's it. Okay, remember when it comes to sharing a Google document, remember, all right, Mr. Mullen, thank you for your patience, and look forward to hearing today's lesson.
Okay, we're gonna do 2 things today. Today's our 3rd day for our story, The Shrimp and the 4 Secrets. And we're gonna finish that every 3rd day. Whenever we come to literature footprints, we always do on the 3rd day, we do a response to literature, but ours is gonna be really simple this time. And so before we do that, I wanted to give you some more, we just need to hone some skills when it comes to getting our clues out of the context when we're looking for meaning from words. And so I'm gonna go over some things. I'm gonna share my screen with you. Oh, sorry. And here we go. Now, the whole thing is that our main strategy, whenever we come upon a word that we're reading and we don't know its meaning, and it's really an important word, we have to find its meaning if we're going to get the meaning of the whole text. We always go with that strategy that looks at the context first. We look around the word for clues. We read through the word to see if we can pick up a meaning or any other clues. And then if we don't get a real solid understanding of the word, we can try to then go to the word itself and break up the word and see if we can get some clues there. I'm just going to look at today those clues we get from the context. That's the text surrounding the word itself. Well, too many of us, we're going to, when we talk about clues in the context, we say, what clues? I don't see any clues. I want you to look at this little text right here. It's not very long. It's from a passage out of the book called The Secret Garden. In fact, it's from the very, very first page of The Secret Garden. It's a classic book for students your age. And there's just this 3 lines that I want to read. She never remembered seeing familiarly anything but the faces of her ayah and other native servants. They always obeyed her and gave her her own way in everything. By the time she was 6 years old, she was as tyrannical and selfish a little pig as ever lived. Now, look, there's 2 words in these 3 lines that are really challenging. The first one is aya. And this word is challenging because it's an ethnic term. It comes from a different culture. And so we have to read around. We're not going to know what that is. Even if we break it up, we're probably not going to know what it means. But we can get a clue if we read through the text. Okay? And one of the first clues that the context gives us is that often the context will give us a definition of a word, especially words that come from other cultures. So let's read it again. She never remembered seeing familiarly anything but the faces of her ayah and the other native servants. So even in that line, there is a clue. Because the word ayah is linked to and the other native servants. If I was to put in and substitute a word that might go right here, it's going to be a shot in the dark. It's going to be an educated guess, but that's okay. We need to take those educated guesses. So on your whiteboard right now, all the time we're taking educated guesses. We look for the clues and we make sometimes assumptions as to what those words mean. Sometimes we have lots of confidence, sometimes we don't. So on your whiteboard, give me another word that you think ayah means. The clue is right here, and other native servants. Okay, I'm gonna start looking for some, I'm just looking for one word. What is the meaning? What's a synonym, do you think, that might work for ayah? Extremely hard when we come to those ethnic words or those cultural, cross-cultural words when we're crossing boundaries. And I'm looking at Mason, and he said family, faces of her family and other native servants. You know what? That's a great guess, Mason. And from this context right here, that makes total sense. If we were to look a little larger, we'd see that ayah is not her family, but she's a native servant. In fact, one that works with her most personally. Let's see what else it could be. Jonathan Cuevas, thank you for coming back. From family or servant, good, Alexis. People, of her people and other native servants. Yeah, I can see why you guys are going that direction. Family. Caretaker or guardian. Angie, that's really, really good. That's a great guess. In fact, ayah, what it means is her nanny or her nurse. Okay, her nursemaid. And so she never remembers seeing familiarly anything but the faces of her nurse and the other native servants. She always obeyed her and gave her her own way in everything. So you can see right here that ayah is in charge of her. By the time she was 6 years old, she was tyrannical and a selfish little pig as ever lived. So what's tyrannical mean? On your whiteboards again, look for the clues. It gives you a part definition in the context. Just part. Crazy. Ashley, that's a good guess. I like that. That's good. What's another one? Annoying. Aaron, good guess. I like them. I like what you guys are doing. See, you guys are taking the context and you're supplying meaning to it. Give me some more. I want to see some more because we haven't hit it yet. Annoying, wild or messy, spoiled. I really like that, Chloe. In fact, that's the closest one to this context, would be spoiled. She's just a little brat. She's turned into a little brat because they spoiled her. And where do you get that? Because she always gave her own way and everything. So sometimes by looking at the context, we can see a definition or a partial definition of what those words mean. Let's go on to the next one. We don't always look for definitions. Sometimes they'll give us what are called apositives, okay? And I want you to read, we're gonna read this one. I'm gonna show you what an apositive is. And the first sentence says this: an igneous rock, one created by volcanic activity, is often used in building materials. Okay? So, right here we have a definition, don't we? A rock created by volcanic activity. That's an igneous rock. The apositive is either separated from the rest of the sentence. The definition is separated by the rest of the sentence by either a dash or a comma. So here, a principal, the person who's in charge of a school, must be at work early and stay late. Okay? Do you see the person who's in charge of a school? What is it? It defines the word principal. So whenever you are coming onto word and you see an apositive, you can know that it's being defined. A golden retriever, a medium-sized domesticated dog, is a good pet. This last one, wolves and poodles are related to each other because they are canines. The word canine, is it used in an apositive? Can you find an apositive around it to define it? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Do you see the apositive? Aaron, you're right. The answer is no. There is no apositive because it's not separated by a comma. It's not separated by a dash. And it really doesn't give the definition. It does give a clue, but it does not give a definition. So we have definitions, we have apositives, which are related, and then sometimes the context will give us examples. Sedimentary rocks such as limestone, sandstone, and shale. Oh, do you see that's a list, isn't it? A list of what? Sedimentary rocks. So right in the context, it's giving us examples. Are very common in Arizona. Let's go to the second one. All aspects of culture, like religion, family structure, housing, and government, are worthy of study. So do you see the examples? They are all giving examples of culture. Felines such as lions, cougars, and panthers are predatory animals. They hunt for their food and eat other animals. Okay, well, I have two sentences here. And each one of these sentences, felines, such as lions, cougars, and panthers, that's giving examples, are predatory animals. Right here, in the second sentence, it defines what predatory means. They hunt for their food and eat other animals. You see? Sometimes in the context, we're going to find words that will speak clues that talk about similarities. The zephyr buffeted the house like a hurricane. This is where we use substitution. I'll bet you that 90% of us have never seen this word zephyr, or if you've seen it, you didn't know what it meant. On your whiteboard, I want you to substitute a word that you think that you think would fit for Zephyr? What's a word that would go in for Zephyr? Guys, if we don't participate, I can't teach you. Ah, there it is, Jaslyn, right. The word is wind. Actually, wind is exactly a synonym for the word Zephyr. So the wind buffeted the house like a hurricane, right? Good job. Let's do this one. The old man was panting like a dog in the heat. The expanse was like the sky. It went on for as far as you could see. Now, there's one word in all of these that shows, in all these three sentences, there's one word that shows up every time. Can you see what it is? If you see what that word is, write it on your whiteboard. What is the word that is in that's in every one of these three sentences? The, right, there's the. Look for another one, Ashley. I didn't even notice the being in every sentence, but you're right, it is. It is like, okay? Whenever we're looking, or whenever the context gives clues that are found in similarities, you're going to see the word like, or just as, something that makes a comparison, okay? Like, just as, those are keywords for similarities. If you see them, look for the clue. Then the opposite of similarities is contrast. The Zephyr buffeted the house, but the house did not shake. Okay? Well, what shakes a house? Maybe the earthquake or maybe the wind, you see? It's pointing to the antonym, not the synonym. The old man was panting, but soon he regained his breath. The expanse was red and orange at dusk, but soon it turned dark turned dark as far as you could see. Sorry, I have a mistake in that. So look at the word expanse. Last one we're going to do. Give me another meaning or another word that would fit a substitution for the word expanse. You bet, Jaslyn, that's exactly right. Alyssa, I like what you're thinking, because expanse does mean, at one sense, length, but in this context, it's more specific. Chloe, absolutely. That's right, Rosalind. Hector, good job. Kaya, that's really interesting too. But if you read the context, the expanse was red and orange at dusk, but soon it turned dark. See, the ground never turns colors, does it? Maybe it does. I would think about that. Okay, so you just need to look for the clues within the context. Now, I'm going to give this to you as a tool. Remember we talked about our toolbox? This is exactly what we went over. So you can look at this whenever you are looking, you're having problems. If you're having difficulty finding a meaning of a word in our reading, you can always come to these, and we need to start using these tools, looking for these types of clues in our context. That's just a real quick review and trying to be more explicit. I'm going to share with you one more thing. Here's your writing for today. It's not long. The shrimp and the 4 secrets. It's already been shared with you. Retell the story using the following structure. The story has been assigned to you, so you have access to it. Use complete sentences, having complete thoughts. Strive for correct spelling, punctuation, capitalization. Pay attention to transitions. And in these retelling, in this summary frame that we have right here, you'll notice that transitions are absolutely key. If you were to stay with this strictly and retelling the story, you would have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences. What you're going to do is click on this and then start typing. Okay? Follow the retelling format, and you may get started on that now. Go ahead. If you have any comments, we'll look at them. This is on your Google Classroom. It should be there already. I'm going to stop sharing now. Oh, you guys should pay attention to that. You guys, you got 20 minutes till we go to homeroom. You should be able to get this done fairly easy right now. Okay?